were so many. I love the Beach Boys, but they
Beach
weren't really a
Boys.
band. They were just boys.
Yes.
And then they became Beach Men.
There were so many I love the Beach Boys, but they weren't really a band, they were just boys, yes. And then they became Beach Men. In 1979, George Harrison watched his ex-wife marry his best friend. People called it the most romantic love story in rock history. But what happened next was anything but romantic. For 8 years, Pattie Boyd lived in fear. She spent thousands trying to have a baby while hefeathered children with other women in secret. Then in 1999, he admitted something on camera that shocked the world. At 80, Pattie revealed which marriage was worse. And her answer will surprise you. Pattie Boyd was born on March 17, 1944 in Taunton, Somerset. Her mother, Diana, had spent 9 months thinking she was having a boy named Michael. No one even thought of a girl's name. Her father, Colin Boyd, who people called Jock, met Diana in early 1942. He was 23. She was only 17. That age gap shaped their relationship from the start. After Pattie was born, the family kept moving. In 1946, they went to Westloy in Scotland. In 1947, they moved again to Guildford, Surrey. Her father was in the RAF and kept being relocated. That made everything feel unstable. But the biggest shock came in 1952. Pattie was 8. She came home from boarding school in Nakuru for half-term break and found out her parents had quietly divorced. No one told her. They just split up and left her to figure it out alone. From 1948 to 1953, Pattie's family lived in Kenya. These were the years of the Mau Mau uprising. Over 11,000 people were killed. Britain spent $55 million trying to crush the rebellion. The violence was everywhere. Whole Kikuyu regions turned into heavily controlled police zones. When Pattie was at school in Nakuru, she was right in the middle of it. British forces started Operation Anvil in 1954, and thousands were arrested and held. The fear was constant. One day, Pattie's mother drove up to her school with a man Pattie had never seen before. "This is your new father," she said. His name was Bobby Gamer Jones. That's how she learned her mother had remarried. It didn't feel real. The country was at war. Her parents were gone. And now, this stranger was supposed to replace her dad. After the divorce, Pattie was sent to strict Catholic convent schools, first St. Agnes and St. Michael's in East Grinstead, then St. Martha's in Hadleywood. The nuns never asked what she wanted to be. They just told the girls to find a husband. Pattie later said, "They just wanted us to meet someone and get married. I never wanted to get married." While the nuns preached silence and obedience, Pattie secretly read Vogue under her bed covers. She didn't care about rules. She cared about fashion. At her convent school in Nakuru, those glossy pages were thinly linked. She had to a different world. One where beauty, clothes, and confidence actually mattered. By 1961, she had passed only 3 O-levels. But that wasn't because she wasn't smart, the system just never gave her a chance. In 1959, she returned to England at age 15. She moved to Wimbledon. By 1962, she was living in London, working as a shampoo girl at Elizabeth Arden's Bond Street salon. She was 17 and earning around $3 a week. She washed the hair off rich women who paid fortunes for treatments Pattie could never afford. Then one day, a mysterious client noticed her. The woman said she worked for Honey magazine and told Pattie she should try modeling. At first, Pattie wasn't sure. She didn't want to lose her job, but she showed up. That one meeting changed everything. She went from rinsing hair to being photographed for magazines. In just months, her face would appear on Vogue covers. What's strange is Elizabeth Arden herself once scolded Pattie for wearing black eyeliner. She said, "That's not the Elizabeth Arden look," but that eyeliner, that rebellious little touch, became the look of the entire decade. By 1962, things at home got worse. Bobby Gamer Jones, her new stepfather, lost his business. The family was broke. Pattie had to find her own way. But Gamer Jones wasn't just a failed businessman. He was cruel. He shouted constantly. Sometimes she beat the children. Pattie, her sister, and her brother were terrified of him. Their mother, Diana, couldn't stop it. She was too scared. So Pattie left. Shed money. She needed freedom. London was exploding with music, art, and fashion. Even people with no money could become stars if they had the right look. Pattie stepped straight into that world. By 1964, she married George Harrison, but before that, she had to build everything from scratch. In 1962, at just 17, she was discovered while shampooing hair. That same year, she started modeling for Honey magazine. Her first paychecks were small, just enough to survive. By 1963, she signed with Jerry Marshall's agency. Her official measurements were 57, 35 to 23 to 35. She had blue eyes and light hair. Her first jobs were catalog shoots, just 5 idozards to 8 towers a session. She worked with beginner photographers who couldn't pay much, but needed practice. Pattie needed photos, so it worked out. She kept going. Slowly, her name started spreading. Everything changed. In 1964, David Bailey, one of the most famous photographers in Britain, did a test shoot with her. The photos showed her with wide eyes and soft bangs. That innocent, dreamy look became her trademark. Bailey's print even called her wife of Beatle George Harrison before they were married. Around this time, Mary Quant said women should stop trying to look like old stars like Marlene Dietrich and try to look like Pattie Boyd instead. That same year, she had a small role in A Hard Day's Night. Suddenly, she was everywhere. In 1964, she also appeared in Woman's Mirror modeling Mary Quant's new miniskirts. These skirts were bold, 8 and above the knee. Some people called them vulgar. Quant didn't care. Good taste is death, vulgarity is life, she said. Pattie modeled the look perfectly. Mini skirts, long straight hair, colorful tights, and a wide-eyed stare. The British female look was born, and Pattie was the face of it. Later that year, she signed with L'Oreal for their international ads. She was just 20 and earning $50 to $100 per ad. That was huge money. She also starred in TV commercials for Dopey shampoo. Her hair became so famous that she started writing a beauty column in 16 magazine telling girls how to lighten their hair and get her look. But as her career soared, so did her relationship with George Harrison. The media attention became overwhelming. Beatles fans hated her. George asked her to stop modeling. He said it was for privacy. That was the beginning of the end of her independence. Still, 1965 was massive. She made $20 to $30 a day when most people earned $15 a week. She appeared in 3 British Vogue covers in 1969 alone. She was in Elle, Vanity Fair, and Honey. Editors said she had the most graceful body they'd seen. Photographers like Terence Donovan and Brian Duffy wanted to work with her non-stop. Everyone did. In April 1966, she walked in Ossie Clark's show in Mayfair. She wore the famous hoopla dress made of cut circles. It cost $25 when most dresses were under $10. Clark even named some of his clothes after her. That same show included black models walking alongside white ones, something no one had done before in British fashion. Pattie was part of that history. Her modeling fee that day was $50, equal to around $800 today. In 1967, Norman Parkinson shot her for Vogue. The shoot celebrated India's influence on Western fashion. Parkinson was paid $200 and Pattie got $75. Those photos later sold at auction in 2024 for up to $3,000. The shoot happened just as the Beatles were diving into Indian spirituality. Pattie. Hugh would go on to direct Alien and Blade Runner. Pattie played a party girl in a short dress. She said she was painfully shy and hated speaking on camera, but that commercial marked her move from modeling to acting, and it gave her confidence just in time for the film that would make her famous. In 1965, she appeared briefly in the Knack and How to Get It. The movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. It was directed by Richard Lester, the same man who made A Hard Day's Night. Pattie had a short scene listed only as girl perfuming Gankle. The scene was quick, but even years later, Beatles fans still debate whether it really featured her. The film captured the wild spirit of London in the 60s. Fashion, music, freedom. It was all changing. Pattie was right in the middle of it. Then came Tonight, Let Us All Make Love in London in 1967. It wasn't a normal film. It was part documentary, part art piece. There were scenes like music movements. Pattie was married to George by then, and the whole city was exploding with color, noise, and rebellion. The film showed underground clubs, street fashion, protests, and interviews with famous faces. It was wild and unfiltered. George would later visit San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury that same year and be shocked. He called it dirty and fake, but in 1967, London still felt like the center of the world, and Pattie was one of its brightest lights. By 1968, Pattie was stepping back from modeling. She ran a boutique in Chelsea with her sister called Jennifer Juniper. She wrote a fashion column for 16 magazine, giving advice to American girls on how to look like the Beatles. She told them what to wear, how to style their hair, what trends were hot on Carnaby Street. That same year, she appeared in the documentary All My Loving, where she talked about how music and fashion were mixing into one. Her marriage to George didn't just change her life, it changed the entire fashion world. After they married in 1966, designer Mary Quant said women should want to look like Pattie Boyd, not Marlene Dietrich. Pattie was on covers of Vogue, Vanity Fair, and Tatler. She worked with photographers like David Bailey and Patrick Litchfield. Even Twiggy copied her look. Long straight hair, mini skirts, wide eyes. That was Pattie. In February 1968, she followed George and the Beatles to Rishikesh, India. While the world waited outside, Pattie had her camera inside. The Maharishi didn't let press in, but Pattie was family. She captured private photos, John, Paul, George, Ringo, all meditating, laughing, writing songs. She took 16 photos. 12 were never seen until 2018. They became her first serious photography portfolio. Christie's would later auction them in 2024. Then came something George told her simply, "I wrote it for you." The song was released in 1969, on Abbey Road. It became his biggest hit, topping charts and getting over 150 cover versions. Frank Sinatra called it the greatest love song ever, but in 1996, George changed his story. He said everyone just assumed it was about Pattie, but he never said that. That same year, Pattie modeled for Italian Vogue in Milan with Twiggy. She kept working with top photographers, but she also started to step back. In 1970, she launched her column Pattie's Letter from London. She gave American teens a window into British trends. She also learned photography from professionals and joined the Royal Photographic Society. She stopped regular modeling because Beatles fans harassed her in public, but she kept doing selective work. In 1971, she held her first private photography exhibition. The photos weren't just art. They were memories. The Beatles, the Stones, rock stars and unguarded moments. She had lived the life they all wanted to see, but things were changing. George had become distant, obsessed with spirituality. He didn't want her modeling, but she wanted her own identity. So, in May 1971, she went back to modeling anyway. Ossie Clark named dresses after her. She wasn't just someone's muse anymore. She was an artist. But behind the cameras, everything was falling apart. In October 1970, Eric Clapton sent her a letter. He didn't sign it. He just wrote, "Dear Estelle," using the name Isla. He asked if still loved George. He begged her to write back, but said not to call. Pattie thought it was a fan letter and showed it to George. That night, Clapton called and asked if she got his letter. That's when she realized it was him. Clapton's obsession had grown dark. In 1970, he started dating Pattie's sister, Paula. He moved her into his mansion, got her hooked on heroin. Paula overdosed. George even suggested a double date with Clapton and Paula, thinking they could swap partners. Clapton couldn't goth rough with it. Paula became collateral damage. In 1972, George discovered